Hello. Welcome to my show. My name is Joseph Mbele. Those of you who are following my YouTube channel know a lot about me. Today I have a very special guest, and I would like to give her an opportunity to introduce herself, and then we'll go on with the show. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. What is it? Good afternoon, or good evening, or good morning, or good night, wherever you are. I'm happy to be on this program, and I'm always excited when I receive an invitation from Dr. Mbele, because I know we will be talking about something good. It is always like a fireside talk, which is more important to us than a scripted talk. So we always kind of want to just wing things out, and you hang in there with us. As we say, you listen to what we are saying, or you're eavesdropping into a fireside conversation. And yes, please feel free to make your comments, whether you like it or not, whether you feel inspired or not by the conversations. It's okay. Your feedback is important to us. It doesn't have to be the loveliest thing that you have to say about us. We will welcome it, because each feedback is important to us.
Absolutely. So it's a fireside talk, and we are expressing our views, our ideas, with the hope that we will promote conversations, maybe about things we don't really talk about, especially, thinking about our African, friends who are here in the diaspora. And we just want to raise some issues. And so today we would like to address the issues that relates to relationships between men and women. And I think we are focusing on African
culture.
So this is how I want to start. Lulu and I have worked on a project for some weeks, which resulted in a book.
Yes.
And we are very happy about that. Do we have the book here somewhere?
Yes, we just have it. Okay.
It's right here, yeah.
It's right here.
Yeah. So we started collaborating, and we have produced this book. And we have discovered we really have a lot of things in common, and we just want to keep talking about those things, sharing perspectives, but also inviting people to think along with us as we address some rather complicated, sometimes very interesting issues. So working on this book, working on this project, in which Lulu is talking about her life as a child, as a girl growing up in Cameroon, in our culture. Let me just say our culture, because it doesn't matter whether it was Cameroon or Tanzania, my country, or Ghana or Zimbabwe. There's something we believe exists that we call African culture. So she grew up there, and she decided to tell her story. And as I was working with her on this story, reading the drafts, paragraph after paragraph, I kept saying, I'm learning so much about our culture, precisely because you, as a woman, is talking about it. I told her, as a man, I really never saw these things the way you see them. And I've written about our culture. I have my own book, Africans and Americans, Embracing Cultural Differences. I'm talking about African culture, and I'm a man. But reading what Lulu was writing, I kept saying again and again, I'm so grateful. You are opening my mind. I'm learning. I'm so lucky to have you, a woman, talk in ways that I've not been, hearing, you know, from other women. And I said, you are very brave to, you know, to be sharing these perspectives. And so we want to get to some specifics, maybe,
Yeah.
you know, we have to get to some specifics about that. And so in my book, and this is something you wanted me to raise, in my first book, I talk about how men talk with women. And I'm making claims the way the conversation goes in the African culture. Say a man would like to establish a relationship with a woman, friendship or whatever you call it, and I'm claiming that the African women will automatically refuse. Yeah, they will refuse, you know, the advances, if you like to call them that. And I'm claiming that that refusal might not be a true refusal. And so the men persist, they come again, they come again, they come again. In other words, they do the very thing that here in the US would be considered inappropriate. And I'm claiming in our culture, it's not inappropriate. And so maybe that's where Lulu can help enlighten us. Yeah, because all of the claims I made, I'm making, you know, from a man's point of view. And I don't know whether I have the right to make those claims.
I would say it's easier for you to make those claims, not that you have the right to make the claims. When I'm talking about our African cultures, the things that I object or agree to, I always try to look at it from the perspective of how the social education and the cultural condition has actually shaped our ideas around that culture. Because in that what we call our culture, men are given the liberty to pursue women and even pester them. When a woman says no, the interpretation is, oh, she's playing hard to get, when she really means no. So it has come to a point where women are even afraid to say no, and they are also afraid when a man starts approaching them, because they don't even know what to tell you, even if they don't know you. Because what happens when they say no? You call it, they will be persistent, but this is what happens exactly when the woman says no. The man will respond, oh, look at this ugly thing. I was just trying to approach you, you know, I was just trying to do you a favor. The man's reaction to your no, it always comes with a really, really intense level of aggression. Yes. You might call them persistence or what. They will be persistent, but it takes on a different form of aggression against the woman. So most often we women, we look at it as aggression when the persistence is there and the person keeps it, because nothing good comes out of their mouth again once you tell them no. They don't even convince you, they start insulting you, and they want to insult you into submission, because you as a woman, you have been conditioned to submit, to be submissive to what the man says or does, and it's only the man who can approach you. So you're on the other side to also struggling with your own cultural conditioning to be submissive to that man. So the man would really insult the living life out of you, but you will not even be able to say anything back to that man, because you are culturally not allowed to do that. And most often that silence is misunderstood. But yes, most often the silence is misunderstood by men. So it is important for men and women to have these conversations and to start to understand each other, because this has been a source of so many problems that are really
So there is in what we call our culture, there is what Americans would call sexual harassment.
Yes, it is a form of sexual
real.
harassment, yes.
Although, as I've said earlier, very honestly, men are conditioned not to see it that way.
No,
but
they don't see it that way.
Yeah, and I really wanted to hear this kind of very firm statement that the things we take for granted, you know, as men, because it's the culturally accepted thing,
yes,
are actually, you know, inappropriate things. And in this particular case, you know, our culture covers up what is essentially sexual harassment.
Yes.
Yeah. And we need to say it bluntly like that.
Yes, it covers what is it's called sexual harassment.
Yeah.
And you see, when you look at the cultural conditioning for men, they actually condition them to be strong men. And that strong man takes away, being a strong man actually takes away empathy, sympathy, compassion. And you are there trying to be what culture wants you to be, the strong man. I cannot talk to this woman and the woman rejects me. So once the woman says no, it bruises that man's ego.
Yeah.
Because it's all about the ego.
Yeah.
And so then you are fighting for your ego. You're fighting for your supremacy as a man in that conversation. You're fighting to win because you have to dominate in that situation. Not actually realizing that fight that you're fighting for your ego. You're actually harassing the woman that you are talking to. And maybe it's a woman that you truly love. But you have not been educated to approach that woman and speak nicely to her. Even if she says no, it doesn't mean you should not try again, but just please be nice. There is nothing wrong with being nice. Yes. So.
And I was thinking, because the men also differ. Some are, you know, polite and nice, and they want to do the right thing. They come again, and they'll be polite. You know, as you have said, there are some who, you know,
they don't like rejection.
Exactly.
Most of them, they don't like rejection because it bruises their ego. And you know, culturally, men have been conditioned to, you know, to depend more on their ego than even their innate senses, their natural senses as human beings. What they are protecting most within that context is their ego. So they fight for their ego in many, even against another man. Not just even a woman, even against another man. If two men are fighting for one woman, for example, you can see the aggression that they are, or the posturing that they are all having against each other as a man. They are still being aggressive to each other wherever they feel that the ego is bruised. And no, for them, it's like an indication of a bruised ego. So.
Oh Lord. And this is something that, since we have been talking about, you know, raising children and so on, especially the boys now. You know, to raise them so they can respect the girls. They can be aware that girls have feelings which have to be respected. They have rights, you know, that have to be respected. And that, they shouldn't be taken for granted.
No, they shouldn't.
And we have not been doing this.
No.
We have not been doing this. And so they grow up to become men with those assumptions that you are mentioning here. The ego thing.
They saw with their grandparents, their parents, you know, it's something that they have seen from generation growing up. The same things that the grandparents did to their grandmothers, their parents did to their mothers. And it is a time now for us to change that dynamics.
And when we were doing the project, your book, one of the issues you raised was, you know, like marriage negotiations. Marriage negotiations in African culture, you know, the family of the man, the family of the woman, and it's not perhaps the whole family. The man from this side and the man from this side, they are the ones who come and they do the negotiations. And you say something very powerful there, that you realize the young woman who is going to be married is not even there. You know, they are talking about her, they're making plans and agreements, you know, between the two families. And the woman is basically invisible.
Yes. And even in cases where the woman is visible and the woman said yes to the man directly, and the negotiations are going on, often you will find a lot of hesitation in most women before they say yes. And the men are like, you don't know what you want. You understand? They keep telling, because she's hesitating, and they think it's because she doesn't know what she wants. No, what women understand is the cost of saying yes to a man. Because it is not the marriage is not the sweet 1 day or 4-hour celebration. To a woman, it's a lifetime commitment. And to make that lifetime commitment means you have to accept certain cultural conditioning, to be submissive, to be of service to everybody but yourself, to take care of everybody else's emotions, whether they're good, bad, or except yours. So it is the cost, the cost of getting married that actually makes most women hesitate. And people just think women just want to get married. I think to the best of my knowledge, and in recent times, most women don't care about marriage anymore. Because they are exhausted. Those who are not married, they're exhausted from seeing what their mothers have gone through. And it's no longer, it doesn't give them any desire to get into that relationship, because it wasn't worth it for their mother. So why would they feel it was worth it?
Yeah, I think these are the kinds of things I have appreciated in talking with you, because you are opening up a perspective that was not there, you know, in my thinking at all. And I can say most men, you know, African men, I'm talking about African men, we don't have the opportunity to hear things like this, you know. No, we don't. And it's a pity. I think it is a pity.
But you know, with the next project, this is what we want to talk about. We want to bring these conversations, not antagonistic, but in order to create that understanding between men and women, and how we perceive things differently, and how the times are changing. Because I remember I talked about somebody, was a religious leader, an African religious leader, and we talked about discrimination between men and women, and the guy said, we are no longer in our grandparents' days. And this story was like a good example to that person. There's a family here in the diaspora. The lady works. She had to drop off because she had to take care of the children. She had to do side hustle in order to get something to take care of herself financially. The husband was working 24/7, let me put it that way, every day. But when they go grocery shopping, this man will refuse to push the cart. And what will he say? He who works the money doesn't push the cart. You know, we might think this is so disconnected from the African tradition, but in the days of our forefathers, our grandparents, the women were the ones carrying the loads. They will carry it on their head and walk behind their husbands to go to wherever they were going. This is the same reflection of that woman carrying the load this time, but it's in a grocery cart. Yes. So in that man's mind, it is okay for that to happen because the woman has to bear that load. So not even dismissing the topic to say it is not in our grandparents' time. No. The culture was taught to change the personality, the man, in such a way that, or the woman, in such a way that as we evolve socially, we still find things within the evolution, that we can still apply that culture in it, because it's a personality problem. It is not a problem of evolution. Yes, so those are the kind of things that I just like that people should start to talk about. And I think it's going to make a really big difference between the way men and women relate about stuff. And then, you know, see where we go from. So that's what is coming off of the next 2 projects that we have in the pipeline.
And I was going to say exactly that I'm happy you have begun to actually write and raise these issues that people are not raising. And I know you are now fired up. And you are going to give us yet another volume. And I've always said, you know, we need this. We need this. We need this. And I have said you have the right to express, you know, yourself the way you want to express yourself.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I guess, you know, that's a good introduction to the kinds of projects
that we have ahead of us,
that we are going to be working on. Yeah. That was supposed to be a very short one, and yeah, we'll keep thinking, and we'll keep
thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll stop here.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Have a nice day. That's it for today.